The environment, one of the most fragile yet important parts of life on Earth. Without it, we would not be here, and its fury can be felt everywhere. When tame, its vast beauty keeps the eyes busy, and the unforgettable moments a regular story for generations to come. When it's angry, it causes destruction, death, and devastation. There's a heated debate about the status of our planet and the causes of these catastrophic events. But in the meantime, the best thing that we can do is be proactive in protecting the planet and looking out for one another when disaster strikes. The 2017 hurricane season was hyperactive, with 17 total tropical storms. 10 of them went on to become hurricanes, while 6 became major hurricanes. With fatalities at 3,361 people and the total damage nearing $283 billion, this catastrophic year changed the lives of many forever. Lexington, Kentucky, September 9th, 2017. News of Hurricane Irma was becoming more concerning by the hour. There was no doubt at this time that Hurricane Irma would make landfall in Florida as a major hurricane. As it roared toward the Florida coastline, it had strengthened to a Category 4 hurricane with winds in excess of 130 miles an hour. At the time, we all knew that Hurricane Irma was going to be a big deal. It was the strongest Atlantic-based hurricane ever reported outside the Gulf of Mexico. Now, this maintained its hurricane status from August the 31st through September the 11th. And after going through the Caribbean islands, it destroyed 95% of the island. Lexington, Kentucky, September 10th, 2017. At 8 a.m. that morning, Hurricane Irma made landfall in Florida, and it packed a huge punch.
And they are saying that there are 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts at these high rises. Stay away from the windows. Even though the eye of this storm did not hit Miami, there's been concern about that. This storm moved west, heading for Fort Myers and Tampa. Not the worst of the storm, but we still damage that this huge, wide storm has caused and is still causing, Jay. Water waist deep in some places there. Biscayne Bay has broken through in some areas and starting to flood. Also here in Miami, we have seen that crane collapse. A crane collapsed in a building under construction after there were reports of wind gusts of 100 miles an hour up high. I can tell you, I believe that. Again, just the beginning for what will happen in Florida as this storm has made the turn and heads right towards where Chris Cuomo is in Naples. And Chris, I've been listening to you, hang in there. If it's anything like it's been in Miami, it's going to be a problem for many, many hours.
That morning, I had a conference call with my development team, and the first thing that I said was that we have to start helping tomorrow. Now, I'm sure I got some crazy thoughts on that, and a lot of people within the development team probably thought I was crazy because we had just been an organization for a few months now. We had just incorporated a few months prior, and here we were setting up a project aimed at helping Florida, which was a 16-hour drive away. After meeting with the team, we decided that we needed to help in any way that we could. We rushed to make arrangements and set up a collection point at Jacobson Park the very next day to collect supplies for the victims. The project was called HIRE, Hurricane Irma Relief Effort. I remember going into September 11th upset and kind of worried about the project. I'd reached out to news media the night before. We had a couple of interviews. I actually sat in the interview room for 5 minutes answering questions. When the segment aired, it was about 10 seconds long, and it was included in a montage of hurricane coverage. Neither one of the interviews that I had that day, though, told the people where to go, where to bring the contributions for Project HIRE. So I remember calling the news media and saying, hey, we need to get this fixed. And one of the news media actually issued a second story on it, but all that they said was that we were collecting donations at Jacobson Park, which is a big area to cover. As the day went by, we sat out at Jacobson Park, and only 2 people showed up. Our total collection was 1 case of water and 2 bags of non-perishable food items. After we wrapped up that day, I returned home and I was trying to think about what we could do next. What did we want to roll with what we had, or did we want to try to set up another collection day? I sat down and I prayed about it, and I was trying to think about what could we do. And suddenly my phone rings, and it's LEX 18 News. And the reporter on the phone says, hey, you know, there's this lady that went to Jacobson Park, couldn't find you guys, so she called the station because she wanted to make some contributions. So they gave me the number, and I contacted her and talked to her. And we set up a meeting point at the local Walmart, which was about the halfway point from Jacobson Park to my house. And we drove over there to meet this lady, and I was completely shocked with how much she had. I have just met the owners of another Lexington nonprofit called People Matter Inc., and they have just brought us a truckload of supplies for hire. After collecting the supplies, I could not hold my excitement any longer. Now that we had the supplies, we had another dilemma. We needed to figure out a way to transport the supplies down to Florida. After spending hours on the phone, we finally found a van that was available from Enterprise, and I picked it up the next day. We spent 28 hours on the road over a 2-day period from Lexington, Kentucky to Jacksonville, Florida. But at the end of the day, we were successful, and we helped people in need thanks to you. This project was amazing, and we had a lot of fun doing it. It wouldn't have been possible without the help from all of our contributors.